Clothing for Buddy Pough, provided by Bill Owens Custom Clothing. Bill Owens Custom Clothing is a proud sponsor of the Buddy Pough Show.
We are pleased to have the Regional Medical Center of Orangeburg as one of our sponsors, as they sponsor the all-heart player each week here on the Buddy Pough Show. And this week, Coach, first time this season we have an offensive player that we're representing, and I'm sure it makes your heart happy to know that there's an offensive guy worthy of the all-heart player.
You're exactly right, and we needed him to show up when he did this past Saturday. It's Tyler McDonald, and Tyler was a quarterback in high school, and we've converted him to wide receiver. He still does some of those quarterbacks kind of things. I don't know if he wants to really get hit, but he's having a really good year. He's had about 20-some-odd receptions already, and, you know, he appears like he's off to about as good a year as we've had as far as receivers are concerned.
7 receptions, 159 yards. Your Regional Medical Center all-heart player this week, Tyler McDonald, for South Carolina State. As we head into Saturday's second half highlights, the Bulldogs taking on Indiana. South Carolina State won the toss. We deferred to the second half, which means we get possession to begin the second half.
Right, and they kick off, and Scoot gets a decent return. We've got to get that kickoff return team going where we can break some, but, you know, we get a good start here with a little option play. You see Wiley taking it up the middle and gaining some yardage there.
Big run, Derek Wiley running the football, 14 carries, 63 yards, averaging just about 5 yards per carry. Bulldogs would have to turn it over on downs as Indiana takes over now.
We seem to be struggling to get started in these halves, and, you know, they hit us for a big gainer here early in the second half.
This is D'Angelo Roberts, a true freshman who really hadn't had much impact on Hoosier offense until this ball game, but D'Angelo Roberts not able to get on the edge as Pat Washington gets the penetration and Devon Quattlebaum finishes it up.
And you know, these are two guys that are playing about as good as anybody. You see Pat Washington defeating a block there on the corner and making that play almost by himself.
South Carolina State again on defense, this time with a 3-man front, trying to put pressure on the quarterback, Edward Baker, Baker. And he's got, I know, really, Wright or Baker. Well, but he loses the handle on the football and we come up with the turnover.
Right. Latars Douglas chases him down and knocks the ball loose. And I think Donovan Richards came up with the fumble underneath the pile.
And that was the first turnover for them, that first time we've been able to turn it over. And Derek Wiley coming back. And again, Wiley was, for the most part, on target most of the day.
Starting to really look like a quarterback.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think Derek's really enjoying being able to mix it up and throw it. And if he can throw it as well as he is, you know, then we really got a chance. That was Julius Pendergrass, one of our freshmen there, running the football on the little end sweep. And then Derek is running the ball here on his own play. And he's showing some toughness there, too. He's behind his pass and driving the power a little bit.
We would eventually turn it over on downs deep into Indiana territory, and the Hoosiers come back, try to get outside, but just not enough speed to get outside the Bulldog defense on that play.
You are going to have a hard time running outside of us. And then we get a kind of a bad break here because Dominique intercepts the ball there, but, you know, we've got a guy offside and they've got a guy holding, so the play is actually nullified, but, you know, it would have been a big break for us to get that football down to that close.
Kind of a turning point for Indiana because they decided to switch quarterbacks, which really kind of surprised me. It really cost them on that possession because we ended up getting the football back, turning them over on downs, and getting great field position, and Scoot Simmons with about a 4-yard pickup.
Yeah, and I like to see those running backs headed toward the goal line, you know, when they're finished, but he gets spun around. But, you know, we then throw the little out route, and this is Pendergrass again, and Pendergrass had I think a decent game. He had a drop or two. He was really hurt about one of the balls that he dropped later on in the game. But this guy's going to be a real good player. And you see Scoot dropping his hat here. And this is kind of what you get with these freshmen. You get a little good and a little bad. You know, he's running hard, and then he fumbles the ball, and then we throw the ball here, you know, out on the little out route to Caleb Davis for a touchdown.
Caleb Davis gets into the end zone with that touchdown. Again, 7 receptions, 49 yards. For Caleb Davis. South Carolina State back in this football game, 24-14. Still a lot of time to go, under 4 minutes to go in the third quarter.
Yeah, but then our Achilles heel comes back and gets us again. We can't really stop the quarterback run. He keeps breaking and getting some yards this way, and then they go with the little screen play outside. You see Dominique making a tackle here, but it's for a gain of about 5 or 6 yards. And they eventually get another score here on the little zone play.
Edward Wright Baker with the handoff this time to D'Angelo Roberts. D'Angelo Roberts, a good day rushing the football for Indiana, 102 yards on 19 carries as South Carolina State takes over, and Derek Wiley brings us back, and Caleb Davis with a catch here.
That was a third down conversion throw, and we start to make some third downs now. And you see here, Devin Ware is blocking hard on the corner, and Scoot Simmons is running hard on the corner. So you get a chance to see that we got a chance here to develop something with these guys really running hard out there for us on offense.
And of course, Wiley once again, empty backfield, and this proved to be a successful coach. When you finally went to the empty backfield, really spread them out. You got some people open.
Well, and you can you create a pretty good run game there along with your throw game, and they don't know whether you run or throw, and then you see Scoot scoring his first touchdown here at South Carolina State.
21-yard run for Simmons on the carry for South Carolina State. Point after touchdown was good. And South Carolina State sort of right back in this thing, trailing 31-21, still 12 minutes to go in anybody's ball game.
And we end up getting the football back here somewhere in this mix, but we've got to figure here now, once we're down by, one, to get it to maybe 3 points or so, and then they hit us on a bubble screen. They hold us on the edge. I thought he steps out of bounds. He doesn't do either one, and he scores.
And that, of course, leads to the 38th point of the ball game for Indiana. Again, Wiley to Tyler McDonald, and this is our Regional Medical Center all-heart play, and you can see why Tristan Bellamy following the play after that chip late on the end.
That's our offensive center running down there. He runs around about as good as anybody. And, that's why he's one of our captains, because he's ahead of everybody in all of our conditioning drills and all that kind of stuff. And then we got to hit that. Oh, we have to hit that. Yeah. We had a little ball there wide open to Antoine Carr, and we don't get it. And then they finally get a stop here. And I think the game ends about, right around here somewhere.
Yeah, that was a fourth down play. And, of course, Indiana would run out the clock. That would be the final. Hoosiers win at 38-21. You look at the tail of the tape. It was ugly, so to speak, at the end of the first half, Coach. You really even things up in the second half to have almost 400 yards in total offense against a Big Ten team.
We did. We showed some signs of the fact that this offense can get it going. And we've got to build on this particular game. Offensively, I think we've got to do more to help our defense. We've been playing pretty good there, but at the same time, we've got to carry on both sides.
Indiana was a team that really was probably more penalized than I think I've seen any team other than maybe a MEAC team on Saturday. I mean, they really had some problems.
They had a hard time blocking us. Yeah. And, when they start having a hard time getting their fits, then the next thing they were getting was kind of answered because of the fact that they didn't quite know exactly where we were coming from.
Okay, we'll take a look. Now the drive of the game, the State Farm drive of the game. We go into the fourth quarter with 12 minutes and 10 seconds to go, Coach. This was an 11-play, 60-yard drive that would get the Bulldogs back into the game. And this is a legitimate drive at a key point of this football game.
It is, and then this is a third down conversion within that drive, which is what you got to be able to have if you're going to keep drives going. And then we get our quarterback run game going. And I really like the idea of being able to spread people out and have different ways to run the ball other than just having to give it to a back. And at this case right here, Scoot Simmons scores for one of our touchdowns.
The State Farm drive of the game. We'll take a time out here on the Buddy Pough Show. When we come back, we will tell you what is up next for your South Carolina State Bulldogs.
For the next big Bulldog game, stock up on the most delicious tailgating packages around at Fats Cafe, where regulars are treated special and everyone's a regular.
All right, the Fats Cafe Fats Facts as we look around the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference. South Florida huge over Florida A&M. Savannah State survives the trip to Boone, North Carolina. It was Hampton losing to Old Dominion by just 3 points. It was Morgan State getting the win over Robert Morris. Elon getting past North Carolina Central, Norfolk State getting a win, MEAC win over Howard, Coach. And a lot of ball games, I think, a little bit of a surprise in how close some of them actually were.
You're right. The Elon North Carolina Central game was a close game. Hampton must be improved. Now, we don't play them this year, but Old Dominion is pretty good, and it was at Old Dominion, so I'm sure that was kind of a rivalry kind of setup. The Florida A&M game was a little bit of a disappointment. I hate that South Florida got the wrath of them the way that they did, but you know, it's that time of year now where we all getting ready to get into our conference schedule. So
Delaware State coming to Orangeburg this week, the home opener. Coach, your thoughts quickly on Delaware State, coached by Kermit Blanc.
Well, Delaware State lost to the University of Delaware yesterday, 45-0, and you know, they were undefeated up to that point. So I'm sure they're coming here expecting to play well this coming Saturday.
Of course, this coming Saturday is the home opener down in Orangeburg, South Carolina. South Carolina State taking on Delaware State. And Coach, as far as Delaware is concerned offensively, you know, what kind of changes were coming quickly?
There had been a spread offense that was kind of downhill in their intentions. Defensively, they're always very, very good in a way where they try to attack you and really knock you off your game that way. So you can expect Delaware to come in here and really try to get after this coming Saturday.
All right, folks, that's going to do it for this edition of the Buddy Pough Show. We hope to see you Saturday down in Orangeburg for the home opener, and of course next week right here on the Buddy Pough Show.